Welcome, Sultan, for making it through after all this stress. Finally, we are here. So let's just start right away. Majorly, let me just give you an heads up of what this session is about. It's a relaxing session, nothing too serious, right? Basically, I'm just trying to test run and break that fear for you to speak into public. And mind you, this session is going to be put out there on YouTube. People are going to see your face and people are going to hear you talk. And people are going to give comments. And you're also going to share this YouTube link to people. So, so you just have to just relax and just talk. First thing is you have to blind your mind from all those people yet. Just focus on me and the conversation. All right. So you don't have to start being scared of people you have not even seen or have not even seen you. It's been an amazing 3 weeks. I think today marks the end of our 3 weeks together from the ladder. And at least your progress from your proactiveness has increased, which is great. Yeah, I've done quite a lot of things that I have in my own note here that I've seen as your own track record of growth, which is great. So basically today, I'll just ask you some questions about QA, your journey in testing, so you just give me a response based on your own experience so far. So to start with, let us meet you.
My name is Ajayi Sultan, a graduate of agriculture from the University of Ibadan. I'm presently a software quality assurance analyst at Sultan Solution, where I presently collaborate with cross-functional engineering team to ensure quality of products throughout the software development lifecycle. I also help to identify scenarios and procedure for product quality. I also help to communicate findings from my test reports to the development team. I possess a lot of grand skills in QA, in quality assurance, ranging from requirement analysis, test planning, test documentation, bug reports using Jira and Trello. I also I also do API testing using Postman, Newman. In my free time, I try to put across knowledge that I know to other people, 1 or 2 soft skills. And my future plan is to dive into automation fully. I also possess excellent organization and good communication skills. And I also hope in future to be well-grounded in automation testing. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Starting from the 2 points that I want to pick up from the things you said, which is your ultimate goal, which is automation. So my question is, why is automation an ultimate goal? Why is it? Because nowadays we have a lot of people that says, oh, they want to do test automation, they just go and learn it and they just get started. But to you, why is that like a goal, like a future goal? Why not now?
Well, to me, it's a two-way thing for me because I started almost as a full stack engineer. So having like a basic background in programming, so I still have the interest of at least putting my hand on some codes. So, and I know that ultimately as a QA engineer, so it does not make a lot of sense to just remain as a manual tester. So I think the ultimate goal of every tester is to have 1 or 2 experiences in automation. So that has been my dream anyway.
So with these statements you just made now, like it will make a lot of sense for manual testers to just stay as a manual tester, or for testing should be like the ultimate goal for manual testers to be an automation testers. I have over 1,001 people that can debate that with you.
Well, that's my opinion. It's my personal opinion.
Okay. So, okay, so I'll just leave it that way. Anyways, so talking about where you work right now, have you been used to agile environment, or has it been a waterfall, or has it been a mix of waterfall and agile environment?
Well, let me say a mix, but majorly agile. So we work in an agile environment usually. That has been
So,
our work schedule. It has been agile.
okay, because a lot of companies out there says we are into agile environments. You know, we are an agile team. We work agile. We do this. So, how? What defines agility to you in a workspace?
We're looking at the flow. To me, I think the ability to quickly let me say it this way. To me, what makes it agile is the fact that we work based on I don't know how to explain this, but let me put it this way. So since our work is based on uh, I don't know how to use the word, but I know we work based on requirement available. So for every project we are working on, so when the product owners, when they come with another requirement, so work goes on immediately. So it's not like a waterfall whereby we wait for a certain part of the team to work on, but the way we work is we work immediately. As the development team is working, the QA team is also working. So, and at every moment, in a week or two, in a week, we always have improvement in our requirements. So we work based on requirements, based on improved requirements every week, virtually every week. Once there is an improvement in requirements, so work is done, testing is done immediately.
So, thank you for that response. Another question, still about around agility, is how do you define? Okay, when you walk into a company, when you join a company newly, how do you know? Aside from they said it verbally, right? Oh, we are doing agile. How do you know by joining the team, by just the virtue of joining the team? How do you know that they are into agile?
Well, with the experience that I have, not that much anyway. I think one of the ways I will know is let me say activeness of activeness in using the test management tools, probably the management tools on ground. So, for example, let's say a team joining a team now, and they said they have a Jira board, and Jira board is almost empty, almost not active in use for like 1 or 2 months. Then I can say, is this an agile environment? Probably it's not an agile environment. So it is just called an agile environment. So if it's an agile environment, I expect that almost every time there should be a ticket on the board for somebody to move, either a developer or a tester, or somebody to return a ticket. So putting up a ticket and returning it, working on it in progress, moving it to QA moving it back to in progress or moving it back to do. It means there's an agility in the system. So work is going on actually. So it gives a sense of responsibility to the development team and to the QA team. And it also makes them the product owner, product designer, the product manager to also be active. So it's like a win-win situation in the team. So if something is going, somebody's monitoring, somebody's responsibility to return a card somewhere or to move to another place. So it means there's agility in the team. Work is actually going on when there's movement of tickets on the Jira board or the Trello board or whichever board is being used in that particular team.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I mean, to mention one of those things, which is the agility of everybody that is delivering. I mean, for me, first thing that would help me is to bring down the principles of Agile, right? So look through the principle of Agile and let me see how they implement it. One of the things is if I join a company newly, the meeting I have with them would help me determine, even from the way they speak, it helps me determine if this people are agile or not. You know, one of the principles of Agile states that the highest priority is to satisfy the customers through early and continuous delivery of valuable softwares. So when when every time the product manager or any kind of PM or the developers or other testers in the team are talking, if what I hear from you constantly, it's about delivering a project rather than satisfying a customer, I tend to quickly know where you belong, right? Also, if I see that changes are not really welcome, probably there is a bug and if people are refused to implement the bug, because it's not blocking us right now. According to a developer, it's not a blocker. We're ready to go live like that. Changes should be welcomed, right? Even if it means late in delivery, or even if it means late in development, changes should always be welcome. And I will also know if you guys are an agile team, if you prioritize a working software over documentation. Because I know a lot of companies right now, when you join them today, they'll first give you one truck of drive that contains documentation and asks you to read. And then anytime you talk or you ask questions, they refer you back to that document. I know that they are not an agile team, because for an agile team, we are focusing more on a working software over documentation. Not that documentation will not be done, but it's not top of the list. Do you understand? And for someone like me, I'm not so fond of documentation. Like when you want to explain a business scenario or a business architecture to me, don't write a lot of notes. Give me an architecture and walk me through it. That works better than writing like a 4 or 5 pages of documentation to tell me how a feature works. Also, probably doing the sprint planning. Now, all of this thing is something I can get within the first month. Probably within the sprint planning, at regular interval, does the team reflect on how to become more effective? How do they take retrospective? How do they do backlog grooming? And they adjust. So those are the things that helps me to really know if these people are really agile or not. And of course, like you mentioned, the Jira board movement, which is mostly like it is not like you taking responsibility. We know when you get to some boards right now in engineering team, you can see some tickets under to do for the entire sprint, whereas the task is almost done. In fact, it is only when the tester wants to tell that the tester goes ahead to pick up the ticket and test. Whereas the developer has moved it to development, it is in progress, it's under PR review, it is ready for test, but it's still under to do. And there's nobody monitoring that. So those are the things that helps me to know quickly, like, I'm in the right environment, or there's so much work to be done in this environment to make it more agile. Okay, so my next question would be on career growth, right? If you want to grow as a tester, yes, like you said, you don't have so much experience, but it's just always good for us to learn some of these things from the perspective of someone that is not to a beginner, but someone that is into the industry newly, right? Because the way you see career growth might be totally different from the way somebody else sees it. And the way someone in 1 to 2 years in the field sees career growth will be totally different from the way someone into the career for 4 to 6 years sees the career growth. So I want to hear from your own perspective. How do you think a career growth should go?
Well, to me, it's been a very a mixed experience for me. But firstly, I would like to, for anybody planning to go into testing or trying to plan their career growth, I think the first thing to do is having a career roadmap, first of all. Having a career roadmap. And the second thing, which is like, to me now, it's a priority. If I'm giving advice to anybody, is to actually get a mentor. Because in any industry, especially the tech industry, without having a mentor, like the right mentor to hold your hands, you can actually be lost. And it can be in the wrong environment, not knowing. It can be in the entirely wrong environment. Because I know for a fact, because it was somehow difficult for me until I started talking to people in testing, like I have 2, 3, 4, 5 years experience. That, okay, how do these things work? There was a time I was speaking to a mentor and it was like, do you know this? Do you know this? Do you know this? I started explaining some of those things theoretically, but practically, I couldn't do those things I was talking about. So to draw down you have to draw down a career roadmap. So then the mentor assesses the roadmap. Whatever needs to be adjusted is done. Then, because as a starter, you have the urge to actually pick everything. So it is a mentor that guides you that, no, you pick one at a time. You pick this. This is relevant. This is not relevant. Okay, go in this way. Don't go in this way. Because at a point, when I started learning, when I wanted to jump into automation, like the early stage, I was already dreaming of automation. So I was like, the guy told me, guy, cool down, chillax. It's not just automation, because I was like, okay, let's start pressing buttons, let's start typing codes. But then he advised me that, okay, why not start with something simple? Start with API automation testing first. Perfect that, then you move to the next thing. In fact, the way he actually guided me, I didn't even think of Selenium at all as an automation tool for me, because I was like, Java, no, I can't learn Java. So having that career roadmap, it helps you plan. So you know where you are, you know what you've done. You can actually assess your growth. Like if you made a plan of learning something within a month, is in your career roadmap. You know when you want to achieve, you know how to achieve it, you know what time to do those stuff. So when you do those things accordingly, so you take time to rest. When you are done with your plans for the month, then you move to the next stage. It's not just about learning a lot of things in a month. It's about learning one. If you learn one, knowing it for a very long time, and you can be so sure that, okay, if they ask me why sleeping, what's this thing, I can actually say, oh, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this. Then you can now move to the next phase. Till you can now say, I'm an expert in this particular area. So to me, career growth is something that is a well-planned, it's not, I can't even call it a document, a well-planned, let me say, a life-planned program. That's how I put it. It has to be a part of you, like in total. When they wake you up, can say that, okay, in the next 2 months, I want to achieve this. After that month, I'm learning this. After this, I'm learning this. This is where I want to be. I'm a junior QA today. I want to be a senior QA in the next 6, 7, 8 months. I don't know if it is possible that way, but like that, it is not just by reading LinkedIn posts that I started learning this in 1 month and I'm an expert. No, it does not work like that. So career growth, it's like an intentional growth, a dedicated effort towards meeting a particular goal. So I think that would be enough for career growth at the end.
Thank you. I think you already stole one of the point I would have said. And it's something that people really silenced when it comes to career growth, which is the drain a career map. I was speaking to one of the graduates at Testify of recent, just this week, in fact, just yesterday morning, and she was telling me like, Mrs., there is work I want to kill me. In fact, I don't want any job again. That she has a full-time job, and then contracts keep coming in, contract this 1 month, 3 months, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, 1 year contract, they are permanent roles for her. It got to a point that she was not telling yesterday that, see, she just did not understand that when she drew the career map then, in the beginning of the Testify training, that she didn't really know, how important it, but she just drew it from the bottom of her heart. She prayed over it like I asked them to do, and then she started like working in it. Now she went from being a customer relations someone in a bank, she is, to joining the engineering department, where she now works as a tester, and then now she's now working from home, and then, so the first thing is the career roadmap, like you have mentioned. Understanding where you are, first of all, understanding the things you have had before now, that can be very beneficial to where you're going to. Because what people do when they want to go into tech is that they shut down the wall of where they have been coming from, and then they want to go into tech just brand new. You don't do that. There's still some very good skills in what you have been doing before that are very important. But if you don't draw a career map, you can't know that those skills are very important, especially soft skills like communication, management, leadership, writing, speaking, all those things, they are very important. And then when you bring them here, it helps you to even harness your technical skills easily, right? So having a career roadmap, know where you are, and know where you want to go to, and then know how you want to get to that place is a key, which a lot of people don't do. I know a lot of people that join testing today. In fact, they are just enrolling for the testing. They have not even started. Like, so when are we going to start writing Java? Okay, maybe I should refer you to Free Codecamp. Maybe you should go and learn how to write Java from there, or JavaScript or whatever, because that mindset really makes a lot of developer things they cannot do test automation. Whereas what they mostly do is, yes, they do test automation, but there's a kind of test automation that they do the kind of test automation they do, which is not the same as what the test automation tester would actually do. right? They are unit testing, they are kind of integration tests that they can write, but what they are mostly doing is they are scripting. I don't know if that's the right word to use. They are just doing test scripting. They are not actually doing, there is a flow automation follows, which is different from just writing scripts, right? You write scripts to just test what you have done, like their unit test now. It's totally different from when you're actually developing a test automation framework, because for everything you do in a test automation framework should follow a user's approach. But anyway, I digress. But majorly, you are meant to have a career map, very important, and then work in it. And you mentioned one thing, you mentioned about mentorship. So let's talk about mentorship for a minute, because this is a question a lot of people watching, especially beginner watching this session, will be asking. So yes, I need a mentor. I know I'm meant to get a mentor, right? I've gone on LinkedIn, I've reached out to them, nobody responded to me, they don't even have my time. And the truth is, mentors don't have your time. They are also working, they are working their 9 to 5 job, even if it's remote, even if it's working from home, they have their 9 to 5, and they also have a career map they're trying to get to as well. So what do you think is the best approach for someone that is just starting out a career? How do you think is the best approach for them to get a mentor? And yeah, let me just ask that first. You can drink water in case you need to.
To me, the best approach, I think, is when you're starting out. I think it's good to start out at probably a training academy, because there you actually have it to be a tutor-led program. So that way, your tutor can also serve as your mentor for the time being. So there, when you understand where you ought to be, so it gives you an edge to know people to actually speak to, because there's this what's it called? This scenario whereby once people are starting out, 5 minutes of your time, it becomes actually very difficult because they also have things to do. They have to, and you are not the only, how do I put it? It's not as if you've paid them to, even if you pay them, 5 minutes of their time cannot even be paid for. You can only appreciate that time. You can actually pay for value, to me, because those things are things that can cost you 3 years or 4 years in your career. So when you get those things, they are just things to appreciate actually. So when you go into a coding academy, in an academy to learn, take your teachers as your mentor at first, because they are the first contact while learning. So you take them as mentor, and when you prove beyond them doubts, they actually help you to grow. So then when you start growing, you can now start them. So one of the ways to even gain mentorship, attend them tech events, ask reasonable questions. Even from questions, some people can actually get interested in you, that, oh, this person actually knows what he or she is doing. This person might probably be interested in getting mentored or something like that. So you can actually jam your luck anywhere. So starting out, don't just be eager to just start messaging people on LinkedIn, on Twitter, please be my mentor. And in fact, some people, they choose wrong mentors. Why? Because look, because you don't have a career roadmap, you actually don't know what the person is into. For example, someone that wants to be a JavaScript automation test engineer, chasing a Selenium expert. So it's like you are chasing the wrong person. You have to understand the wrong for example, you studied physics, you studied let's say law, for example. You are chasing someone who started from computer science. So if you are chasing somebody that studied French and is into testing, so the person kind of understands your way. The person can guide you through better than somebody who started from sciences originally. So started from a very far place into tech, can also guide you because he already knows the obstacle you are going to face. He knows the challenges ahead of you already. So he helps you better. So all these things are meant to be, you have to, like now, I've actually penned down everything I want to do. So for me to choose something, I pen down, look at the pros and cons. Okay, am I choosing the right person? Am I actually using the right approach? So I think that's the best way to actually get mentorship. It helps. So you have to consider all those things before just bugging people's inboxes for mentorship. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much for that. Because like I said, you covered it. But I'll add some things. Like you mentioned, starting in an academy gives you a very huge start. It helps you to get that person. And that is why choosing where you do your training also matters. You don't go and do training with people that just want to do training to make money, right? You make sure that the person that is training you is actually into what you are doing, right? I see people that we are doing software testing now, so let me talk about software testing. I see people that do software testing training nowadays, whereas the people that train them are not testers. So those people do training for you, and then they go and bring in resources they have online and then train you on what they have. They will not be able to train you the industry standard approach. They can give you all the resources. Every resources you need to know about testing, they are going to create resources for you. Yeah. But it can be compared to someone that is actually a tester. For example, it will be totally different when someone like Tommy mentors you in testing compares to a developer mentors you in testing. Not that they can't mentor you, not that they don't have the idea, but the difference in delivery, there'll be difference in the delivery. This person is already a tester. She knows, he or she knows what they are doing in the testing industry. Compared to a developer that knows that, okay, I know testing now, it's not just going to click left and right. There are some resources online that you can read. The person gives you resources and stuff like that. So you need to know where you do your trade, because that's like a very easy approach for you to get a mentor. Now, the second thing you mentioned is putting yourself out there. We have a lot of groups on WhatsApp, and then you have been quiet. If you don't put yourself out there, there is no way a mentor will see you and find interest in you. Nobody will see you. And I've seen people send me a DM before and say, Princess, I feel like, oh, I can help you. You need clarity on this part. You need clarity on this part. They just come, as they just find interest. So put yourself out there. If you're in a group and a midst of people that are like minds, that are testers in an event, in an event, in a group, in the midst of people, speak up, be proactive, it is not, I know ladies used to have this reservation like, they're not saying I'm doing carry me. It's not, if you don't carry you, who will carry you? If you don't show up yourself, who will show you off? Is it me that will come and show you off? You better show off. So show off your skill, buga your skill, and let people know that yes, you have the skill set in you. And another thing is, yes, you can put all of these strategies, and then finally you have a mentor. It's one thing to have a mentor, it's another thing to be able to keep a mentor. Keeping a mentor is key to, in fact, that's the most difficult part of it. That's the most difficult part. You can get a mentor, but to keep that person, because to keep a mentor, you need to put yourself in the face of the mentor. You need to be progressing. I have mentors that I only speak with every 6 months, twice in a year. I have mentors that I can always run to. Please, if I'm having issues with this thing, I've been battling with it for the last 1 week. This is the things I've studied. This is the things I've made research on. I've asked so person. I've asked so person. These are the solutions they have provided for me, but this is the issue I'm still having. That way, you are not slacking and you're not bugging your mentor. And you need to, yes, like you mentioned, the kind of mentor you have. And you also need to know when they are useful. There are some mentors you need to have that you should only be meeting with them once in 3 months. Except in a structured environment like this, like the ladder program, where, okay, you are able to meet with them every day. But when you want to have a career mentor, there are some people you cannot just be meeting, expect them to be available for you every week, be on your neck. No. Know when to meet with them and prepare to meet them. Schedule a time to meet with them. Send a reminder. Know what you want to gain from that meeting. Have an objective of why you want to meet with them, what you want to meet with them for. So that by the time you are speaking with them, there is an achievement at the end of the meeting. And there are some that, yes, you can have access to meet with every time. It's very important. Me, I don't even do every time because I have my mentors to meet too. I have deliverables at work, deliverables at business. So I might not be able to, I might not be available every time. So keeping a mentor is also key. So yeah, that's it. The next question I will now ask is, this is the most interesting part when it comes to career intake, which is money. Money, 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 money. People have this mindset that once I enter tech, bam, to make it. Because when you go to LinkedIn, when you go to Twitter, most of the advertisements you see in tech, most of the posts you see is, oh, congratulate me, I just joined Facebook. Congratulate me, I just joined Meta. Congratulate me, I just joined Twitter. Congratulate me, I just joined TikTok. Congratulate me, I just joined Microsoft. I just started 4 months ago, and now I have waked up. I'm now working in Microsoft. I just started my career in tech yesterday, and today, look at me, voila, I'm earning 2 million naira. Are you one of those celebrities, that God has paved way for, that, you started yesterday and boom, you make money? And I want you to teach us that approach, because I also need to cut soap from you now.
I wish I have this soap to share. That'd be nice. But I think a lot of people, we're actually not facing the reality of life. Let me put it that way. Because social media is more of fake life. Let me put it that way. Why I said it's fake life is that you just see people jump to LinkedIn, jump on Twitter. I started learning JavaScript 2 weeks ago. Today, it's a month today. I'm earning $2,000. It's not done anywhere. All these things are actually they're not a day job anyway. So there was a time I was actually forced to share some of my rejection emails just to encourage some of my guys on my WhatsApp status that most of the developers you see today earning big, they're actually not going to share you those rejection emails. Some of them have been trying for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. I was actually speaking with somebody at an event on Saturday. He was even telling me that, oh, more guy, if I see a job of like 95,000 naira to start with, I was like, are you joking? I was like, after investing about 12 months in training as a developer, I even still dreaming of 95,000, where people are dreaming of big money. But that's the reality, especially in Nigeria, because we are not yet there. That's the truth. In terms of compensation for work, we are not yet there in Nigeria. Most of the people living big today, most of them, they work for foreign companies, so they work remotely. But in Nigeria, the truth is, you just have to start somewhere, and you should know when to leave. Know when to leave. Sometimes you just need somewhere to start from, just to push you, because it will actually be very very bad for you to have learned for a very long time and not starting work with a firm also, because I think starting off gives you an edge to getting a better job. So if you don't have a prior experience, so it's like, you've just been there. So the skill is not relevant if you are not working with it. So you cannot just say, I can do this, I can do this. What have you worked for? What have you worked with? Do you have freelance jobs that you've done? So you can start out with freelancing. And the truth is that I've seen a lot of people claiming to be freelancers that are earning these. I took the tax upon myself. Okay, let me start opening freelance accounts. I opened Fiverr accounts, Upwork, Utest, Test.io. I opened a lot of freelance accounts. I was just struggling to even get one offer. I was struggling. The one I even got, most of my bugs, I think they've been reported before, so I can't earn from it since it has been reported before. So starting out, sometimes it's difficult. And then the one thing we cannot rule out is the fact that to some just have that grace. They just finish training, they just get a job, big job. So it's not the same for everybody. So it's a different ball game for everybody. So some might just start out and get the job immediately, boom, even without experience, they just get it. And someone in the industry with experience is not even earning like they do. So we just have to put that factor, because that's the most important factor, God's grace. So once it's not there, I'm sorry, it's not our friend, it's not our rosy out there. But normally, tech industry is a very big industry. Yes, people get money there, but that mindset that once you just finish, you just get big job. No, it's not always true. It's not always true. It's not always true. But with
Thank
time,
you
it gets better.
for sharing that, because I think this will provide a lot of clarity to people that it's not always as rosy as it seems. You know, people put it out there that, oh, and okay, so two things I'd like to also address or to portray more is that we know that there are some people that put it out there, oh, congratulate me, I just got a job with Facebook. But they don't share behind the scene. I didn't tell you how many sleepless nights they have had. They didn't tell you how many rejection mails they have had. They didn't tell you how many almost panic attack they had during interviews. They didn't tell you how many phases of interview and how they need to study for the interview. They didn't tell you how scared they had to even apply for the job, right? They don't show you all those fears. They just show you the good news. And you know that social media is all about the good news. Mostly all about the good news. And the other ones that also, they don't also share with you when they were collecting 50,000, you will never see it on social media. It's just like you now, if you get an offer and they are paying you just 250K, you won't put it on social media. Well, you feel like what's there to celebrate about? But when you get a job that are paying you like 2 million naira, in fact, even if the name of the company is not, you want to mention it that congratulate me, I'm not working with this company. And with the name of the company, we can envision, we can predict how much you are earning, right? Those people that also announce to you that they work at Facebook, Microsoft, all of these things, they are not so big. It just depends on the level you are that it makes you feel like these companies are so like the biggest. Some people don't have interest to ever work with any of these firms. They just don't have interest in it. They just feel like it's all about the name for them. And it's like too much. So they won't put it out to you when they were earning low amount. They won't put it out to you when they were collecting, doing internship for a year, 2 years without payment. They won't put it out there for you when they were working with companies that don't have a name, you know. But when you start seeing things on social media is when, so the question is, why didn't these people share this? You know, anytime I see a news that you joined social thing, I want to look at your post history. When you were working at this previous company, did you put it out there? No. So why should I not be bothered when you put about this big company here? It means that you have done so. So it's very, very, I don't want to use a kind of word because of you too. So it's somehow, if you see a post out there and then you are fascinated by it and then you just get envious and you just want it and you don't want the behind the scene of it. That doesn't make any sense. So the last one we will talk about is remote jobs. You know, you talk about creating Fiverr and creating all the like freelancing. And I see it a lot of the time, especially on LinkedIn. Everybody is the CEO of a company that they created by themselves and they're the only one working there. That's one side. Everybody is a freelancer, even though they have never freelanced or work in a company. Freelancing is different from the word freelancing is different from a job that you're working remotely. Freelancing means that nobody is paying you monthly salary. Nobody is paying you pension, because that is one part people don't mention in freelancing. I think I'll have a different session talking about freelancing. People don't talk about freelancing on the disadvantages that freelancing brings. People just think that, oh, you know, with freelancing, I can work anywhere and anywhere I want. So what do you think about freelancing? How has your experience in freelancing been compared to working in a company as a full-time staff?
I think the first thing to note is freelancing and remote job, when it comes to comparing it to, so financial security, there's financial security in one and there is none in the other. So having a work guarantees you that something is coming at the end of the month. So there's financial security that way. So in freelancing, you can go actually, how will I put it? You can be there for 6 months without earning anything, for years without even getting a job. That's the truth people don't say. Once they just eat one, they'll talk about it as if that's what they eat every month, that they just get like $5,000 job every 2 weeks. So I start getting envious of them. But they don't tell you that, you know, I've been here for like 2-3 years. I've not gotten one job to do. Because it drives me nuts sometimes when I just see people sharing all these testimonies, because I'm like, oh, we are in this game together, but we are not seeing anything. What's wrong? But then I just have to calm down that it's always like that. You can just jam your own luck one day. But the thing about remote jobs is that you are just sure, and there's a guarantee that something is coming at the end of the month. And for some jobs, there are a lot of tech, insurance, health allowance, travel allowances, and then a lot more data allowance. But who will give you that in freelancing?
Exactly. All right, so that'll be all. Thank you so much for your responses. It's been an amazing time talking to you, Sultan Ajayi. Yeah, we talk later in the evening, but that'll be all for today's session. Thank you. Is there any final words you want to give to our honorable audience?
Okay, I think the last word I would like to give is just that while starting out any career, especially in the tech industry, just because there are a lot of things to know. Because I was telling few people, I think a week ago, that once you enter tech, there are a lot of how would I put it? There are a lot of things that we always want to carry away, because when you start, like, for example, if you're into front end and you start learning HTML, CSS, you think you're on top of the world. When you start learning JavaScript, then you know the big deal. When you now finish learning JavaScript, then you now attend a tech event and somebody comes to the stage saying, I earned 3 million from Ruby. You'll be like, wow, I think Ruby is the next language to learn. And that person says, I only learned Python and I'm earning this amount. You'll be like, let me learn Python too. And that person comes, I'm earning this from TypeScript. So you don't just jump around. Be certain, read about what you want to do. When people come to me that I want to go into tech, I tell them, I cannot tell you what to do. Read and pick interest in one. There are a lot of things. One will come, okay, now you start learning programming and just say, oh my, I had people are earning much in data sciences. Bros, what do you want to do? Sit down, pen those things down, read about them. Look at what that catch your interest. Study about it. Know where to concentrate. Okay, is it that I'll learn this, then I'll now pick one. You have to be able to define your goal, that this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. Not just be reading Twitter posts. People are learning this in this particular language. You leave the one you are learning, go and learn down. At the end of the day, if they ask you about any of those languages, you won't even know one. You won't be able to define one. So it is better to just stick to one path. If it is programming you want to do, stick to it. If it is testing, stick to it. If the language you want to do, if it's Java for automation, stick to it. If it's JavaScript, stick to it. If it is Python, stick to it. There are a lot of things to actually convince you in the industry. So that's why you must have guidance, somebody guiding you, holding you that pick this. And it is actually absurd when you are taking somebody into Java as your mentor, when you actually want to learn JavaScript. It's not possible. He or she can only guide you towards his own path, because that's what he understands better. So just know the kind of person that wants to guide you and know where you want to be. Just have it. People, as I am like this, somebody can convince me that this is what you should learn. No, I know what I want to learn. It is just that who will teach me? That's what we remain. That okay, learn this. No, I know who I want to be, and I'm focused. I've made plans on how to achieve those goals set. So that is my advice for people just coming into the industry or people just starting out.
Thank you so much, Sultan. That was apt. That was apt and accurate. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody learned one or two things from this short session. It's been a nice time, and have a great day.